Is Scott Thiel. He's the CEO and co-founder of Tokinvest, a digital assets investment company based here in Dubai, and he's in the studio. Scott, good morning.
Good morning, great to be here.
Right, Tokinvest, you got your VARA digital assets license a couple of months ago. So now you're getting down to business. And one of the first things you're launching is fractional ownership of racehorses. Why?
Why? It's a great question, and I think it really comes back to the thesis of tokenization and the potential of blockchain, and indeed what we're doing at Tokinvest. So, that starts with, let's take the greatest assets in the world, the best assets in the world that are maybe very expensive to buy, very hard to access, and we make them available through tokenization to a much wider group of people at a lower price point. So why horses in particular? Hugely emotive, exciting asset class, but really difficult to get into. The ability to actually participate, to own a racehorse, to participate in the pointy end of that industry, and as you just sort of showed in the clip there, being able to actually own something like a winner of something like the Dubai World Cup is extremely difficult. So this is all about giving people the ability to own a piece of it, to actually participate in the industry.
Now, fractional ownership of racehorses is not a new thing per se. What you're doing with tokens and digital assets maybe is, Tom, can I bring in Tom Urquhart, my learned friend here, big fan of racehorses, off to Cheltenham, at some stage in the not too distant future, but a former racehorse owner here in Dubai.
Yeah, I mean, many years ago when syndicates were a thing, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Made racing a lot of fun. Getting racing with your mates, knowing that you've got a little bit of an investment, owning a fraction of a leg.
So, Scott, my question to you is, it was a passion project for Tom rather than part of his retirement portfolio. Do you still get to go to Meydan if you invest in a racehorse through tokenization? Do you get the little badge saying owner and go to the what do you call it, the paddock when you walk around and inspect the horses, Tom?
Paddock.
Yeah, the paddock. Do you get all that?
Yeah, look, it's a great point actually, because not only do you get to own a piece of the racehorse, or indeed the stable, which potentially has a number of horses in it, and not only the race itself, but also the breeding rights that come along with high-end racehorses. So yeah, of course you probably would more likely go to Meydan to see the horse that you own a piece of perform. But you make a great point about bringing in utility rights. Well, as a fractional owner, what is the stable or the rights that are going to come along with that? Do you get to get access to the horse? Do you get to go to track days? Do you get to go to the paddock, as you say, and see them? All of those things are possible with tokenization. We can build in a mixture of kind of investment rights, investment returns, and also that utility to really build that kind of engagement and participation in the industry.
Let's be honest, investing in racehorses is a relatively high-risk asset, isn't it? How do you quantify that risk if you're going to be selling this to the public?
Well, one of the questions there is the public, in a sense, are not just putting their investment into the horse, if you like. We see this very much as them putting it into everything that comes around the horse. So the trainer, the stable, the ecosystem, the track record of that particular stable. And if we look at the recent announcement where we've partnered with not only DSG in New Zealand, but also Evolution Stables there, they're an absolutely elite performing stable. So what you're really doing is not necessarily just putting your investment into an individual horse per se, but you're also putting it into the entire ecosystem of what is a very successful long-term business that does this professionally and for a long time well.
Traditionally, though, owners of a syndicate and a horse, they tend to have to pay up every year for all of those things that you mentioned, the stables. These things are not cheap to run. What kind of financial obligation do you have? It
really depends on the product. So, that's pre-baked in. It's fully disclosed up front. So you get to understand what it is you're putting in. You understand what rights, in terms of investment returns. That's all built into the white papers and the legal documents that come along with your token ownership. So, it's not dissimilar to a syndicate, if you like, but it does provide the ability to, perhaps a passive investment where you don't necessarily have to continue to contribute.
Okay, finally, what's next? Racehorses is great. It's good fun. It's probably not going to be core to your business, is it? What is going to be core to your business now you've got that newly minted VARA license?
Yeah, I mean, we're super excited about the opportunities, again, with assets that people want to buy but are expensive to buy. So we're focused very much on real estate products, both off-plan and built products. Dubai is a great market for real estate, as we've just been hearing earlier this morning. So that's one of our key focuses. So is really high-end funds, like the ability to come in and participate in fund investments that are traditionally exclusively available to the super rich or those who have got access to private market funds. These are the types of products we're looking at bringing to market in the near future.
30 seconds on the legal bits of this. You're a lawyer, 20 years with one of the world, almost 20 years, 2 decades with one of the world's biggest law firms. 30 seconds on the legal questions you get asked and the answers.
Legal questions around, protection of the asset and the underlying things, but I want to pivot your question, if I may, to what is tokenization? We see this as the digital evolution of law. The things that we used to put into all of that paperwork, we can now put into a digital contract. And from an investor's point of view, all of that paperwork disappears, and you now have the ability to participate and buy into something without all of that administrative friction. So, essentially I see this as the digital transformation of legal rights and contracts.
Good stuff. Well, racing at Meydan this weekend, Tom, have we got, you said?
Yep, Super Saturday tomorrow. It's the sort of curtain raise, the last tune-up ahead of the World Cup. It's basically a dress rehearsal for World Cup night, so the last opportunity for horses to qualify for the big races as well. It's a good night. If you're available tomorrow, get yourself down to Meydan. Super Saturday.
Scott, good talk to you. Appreciate your time this morning. Best
Thanks
of luck
very
with
much.
your new venture. That's the thoughts of Scott Thiel. He's the CEO and co-founder of Tokinvest here in Dubai.
This is the Business Breakfast.
Down.